In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, I just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. We've got all of our episodes and interviews from episode 1 to the weekly release. Check that out. We also have all of our interviews in the interviews tab. We've done some incredible interviews with horror legends. Check it out. We had James U. Courtney on for a Halloween Ends promo. Incredible interview. Check it out before you go see Halloween Ends. We also have our store. We have some new t-shirts, new merch, new apparel. And we also have Shan's Etsy page. It says, you want to rep your favorite podcast? Do it. We'd love to see your pictures. Shout out our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. We love interacting with our fans. We love reading your comments and questions. We love, just bullshitting with you on the, Twitter or whatever platform we're talking to you on. It's fun. We love meeting new people. And last thing I'm going to shout out is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. None of that money goes to our pockets. It goes directly back into the podcast. What we host our files on, what we make YouTube videos with, stuff like that. It takes a big burden off of us. And we also have one-time donations. If you want, like you're a big fan of a movie, for example, and you want us to review it, we have that tier available as well. Tonight is the second week of spooky season of October, and his brother Mike's pick. And he picked a really good one. All right, go ahead, brother. What was your pick?
Yeah, so I went with, arguably, I'm sure there will be people that disagree, but I went with M Night Shyamalan's, to me, best film, and that is The Sixth Sense. Look, this was a blockbuster. This is in the pop culture zeitgeist, that overused term we like to have on this show sometimes. The I see dead people line was everywhere. When I was a kid, I mean, literally everywhere it was quoted all the time, just like he saw dead people. And so this was, I've told the story about how I saw Rob Zombie's Halloween in 2007, and it was really what got me loving the horror genre, not because it's a great movie, but just because, oh shit, I've been missing out. Technically, this is the first horror, I put in quotations, movie that I ever saw. Because I was staying at my aunt and uncle's house, and they had some friends over, and I was a kid, and you don't have control of the remote, and they decided they wanted to watch The Sixth Sense. And here I am, a 7-year-old boy, afraid of scary movies, and I got forced to watch that, and I flipped the hell out and cried and didn't sleep for a week. So, all that being said, I like viewing this movie through much older eyes, because to me, there's some good scary stuff in this movie, but this is just a great movie in general. I love it so much. And look, I'm hardened when it comes to movies. A lot of movies have a hard time making me feel something. This movie makes me feel something when I watch it. I mean, all the freaking feels. And I'm not ashamed to say this movie makes me cry every single time I watch it. At least once. Somewhere along the line, I get a little choked up. So the reason I picked it is because I love it. And it was a freestyle. And I wanted to do an M Night Shyamalan month. I'm glad I changed my mind. We'll space those out. So I just went ahead and picked my favorite M. Night movie, and that is this one. And just right off the bat, kudos to this cast. It is phenomenal from top to bottom. Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, Toni Collette. From top to bottom, this is just freaking Donnie Wahlberg at the few minutes he's in it. It's fantastic. Great visuals, great effects, great everything. This may be one of the higher ratings I ever give out. For sure.
All right, so yeah, I'm the complete opposite of Mike here. I had not seen this movie until about a week ago, whenever, it was time to do my notes on it and watch the movie. I've heard only good things about it, and I'm going to give a hot take here. I think even if you know the twist going into it, it doesn't affect the movie, honestly. Like, I just thought the movie was great. I thought the movie was fantastic. I've been kind of just joking around in the group chat or whatever. Well, honestly, this movie is great. And I agree with you, Mike, 100%. The ending with Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette in the car, I mean, I choked up every time I watched it. It was very powerful. She was incredible. I mean, she wasn't like hereditary incredible, but she wasn't, the primary in this movie. but she gave an incredible performance. He did. Bruce Willis did a great job. Captivating movie. It made me feel all the feels. Had a lot of great gore and effects, like you mentioned. Uh, the scene with the father, where
Oh
he
God
witnessed
Almighty!
his the wife killing his daughter, very emotional. Like, I haven't felt the kind of emotions in this movie in a review since Train to Busan.
Yeah,
That ending, that
yeah.
ripped me to pieces too. Very powerful movie. I really have no bad things to say about this movie, honestly, except the fact that it is probably M Night's best movie, but it's still not my favorite. The Visit's still my favorite, just
That's
because I
fair.
had that authentic first watch with it. But this movie's better, like, well, better made and all that. But it's still just not my it. But it's going to get a high rating, Mike. Like, I'm so glad you picked it, and I'm glad that I finally got to watch it.
Before someone else goes, I actually think knowing the twist upon a rewatch makes the movie even stronger, depending on how you feel about the twist. If you don't like the twist, then okay. But if you like the twist, I think going back and rewatching it, knowing the twist, actually can help the viewing experience a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like that'll vary person by person. But for me, I don't really even care about the twist. I think the twist in The Visit was better, honestly. But this movie was just so powerful. It was so good. Brian, go ahead.
Well, I honestly can't remember the first time that I saw this. I mean, I was a sophomore in high school, so all I was doing was chasing girls, playing baseball, and watching movies. So I'm sure I saw it around then. I just can't really remember the first time I saw it at all. Sidebar, holy shit, at 1999. I mean, there's a lot of culture changing movies that came out that
Yes.
year.
Yep.
But as far as this one goes, I remember that I only knew the twist for some reason. Probably saw it on America Online interwebs back then. I don't know, which is weird because I usually remember stuff like that. But for some reason, Signs was the first M Night Shyamalan movie that really gripped me. But I really like this. I mean, Bruce Willis is one of my favorite actors of all time. Fun fact: apparently, this part was written with Bruce in mind from the start to play this character. You mentioned Haley Joel Osment. I mean, he will always be Forrest Gump to me, but man, his performance in this is so damn good. But yeah, just amazing cast, like you've said, and nothing but praise from me. I mean, hell, the movie was nominated for 6 fucking Academy Awards, including Best Picture. So I mean, come on. I mean, it's a groundbreaking movie. Definitely one of my top 2 favorite M Night Shyamalan movies, depending on the day. And it's pretty well known. I'm a big M Night fan.
Yeah, I am too for the most part. Now he's gotten away with some shit throughout the years just because this one
Buddy,
is so good.
you ain't
Signs is so
lying.
good.
You ain't lying, man.
But this is number 2 for me. I like Signs better just because, like you said, Brian, it's not necessarily that Signs is a better movie, but it was the first one that really gripped me, and I don't know, there's something very nostalgic about that movie. I saw this movie, very early on, right after it came out, but didn't really stick with me the same way. Now going back and watching it, it's a really good movie. Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette are the stars of this movie. Like, their chemistry is so good and it comes across so well. And Haley Joel Osment, like, it really baffles me how he was in seemingly everything in the late 90s, mid to late 90s / maybe early 2000s, and then just like not much, and then pop back up recently. Like, I was watching Silicon Valley, and he's in it, and I'm like, holy shit, he looks like he ate Haley Joel Osment. But shout out to him, he was a really good child actor. And shout out to his sister, she's really hot, Emily Osment. Call me sometime. But this movie is really good. I agree with what you said, Nico, about knowing the twist doesn't take me out of it, but I definitely think that going back and watching it after you know the twist, it makes it made things annoy me. So I'll get into it in the scene. I don't want to give it all away here, but like, certain things just really annoyed the shit out of me after you know the twist. But still a really good movie. The story is great. The acting is great. Fun fact, when I watched this movie to get ready for this review, I watched it in the same day that I watched the movie Bandits, which is another Bruce Willis film, and didn't even do it intentionally. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm having Bruce Willis day over at the house. But really good movie. I like Bandits a little bit more than this one for a completely different reason. But yeah, I'm glad Mike picked this one as well.
Hey, Dustin, I have almost every Bruce Willis movie in that little collection. So good. Yeah, I went through a phase where I just went and bought Bruce Willis movies that I hadn't seen and watched them when I bought them because I loved it so much. I loved him so much.
All right, guys. before we get into the film, I ask one question. I watched this movie on Peacock, and I have one complaint really at the end, but I feel like it might just because I watched it on that platform. Is the editing like bad in like other streaming platforms or like a physical copy? Because I felt like it just went to black and then just cut to a whole nother scene. It didn't transition well. I don't know if that was Peacock's streaming or if that's just how the movie is.
I
It
mean,
kind of bothered me.
there are a lot of fade to blacks, but I mean, it didn't bother me. I watched it on Hulu, but I didn't notice anything like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I'm just being nitpicky there. I mean, it's not going to affect my view of the movie, but I was like, I don't like the way this transitions.
I
But
watched it on
I'm not. I
DVD.
mean, that's
So.
not going to affect my score or nothing. But it did bother me some. Any more opening thoughts? Where you just jump into the scene by scene?
No, let's do it.
All right, let's get it, guys. The film starts with title card and opening credits to a spooky tune. Anna goes into the basement to get a bottle of wine. She goes back upstairs and joins her husband, Malcolm. He says it's a fine frame when we see his plaque celebrating his child psychology work. She says this is important. They finally recognized him. He thanks her and they kiss. He asks for some wine in a Dr. Seuss kind of way, and they head to the bedroom where they see their window has been busted. They see a shadow move behind them, and Malcolm checks out their bathroom to see Vincent Gray, a former patient, standing there shivering. They're in shock as Vincent asks him if he knows why he's afraid when he's alone. I want what he promised me, Vincent says. Don't you remember your own patients? I waited 10 years for you, he shouts. Malcolm guesses who he is wrong until he remembers he's Vincent. Vincent grabs a gun and shoots Malcolm in his lower core area, then shoots himself in the head. Anna runs over to Malcolm. The next fall, South Philadelphia. We see Malcolm watching a young boy leave his home as he locks up. Cole Sear, age 9, as he reads notes on the things possibly wrong with him. Cole takes off running to school as Malcolm pursues across the street. Cole enters a church as Malcolm joins him and introduces himself. The two converse on olden day Europe of people hiding in churches. People hid from bad people who wanted to throw them in jail. The glasses were Cole's father's, but they have no lenses. They hurt his eyes. Cole asks him if he's a good doctor. I used to be. I won an award once from the mayor. Cole grabs his bag and walks away asking if he'll see him again. If that's okay with you. Malcolm heads home now and sees dinner for one on the table. He goes to the bedroom and sees Anna laying down. He goes downstairs and goes into the basement and looks up the Latin that Cole was speaking. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. We now meet Lynn, Cole's mother, who is getting dressed and calls for Cole, saying his Cocoa Puffs are getting soggy. She checks the laundry again and sees all the cabinets and drawers open. She shouts, asking, was there anything he was looking for? He says Pop-Tarts. She's scared and he asks what she's thinking about. Anything bad about me? She puts his tie on and gives him Pop-Tarts as we see a handprint fade away from the table. Lynn watches Cole and Tommy walk away as Tommy calls him a freak. Cole hesitantly goes into school and we see Malcolm and Lynn sitting together. She greets Cole asking how was his day. You can tell me things if you need to. She says she won the Pennsylvania lottery, quit her job, and ate a big picnic. He says he was picked first in kickball and kicked a grand slam. She says she'll make him triangle pancakes. Malcolm says hi to Cole and asks if he wants to sit. No, Cole says, and Malcolm asks if he wants to play a mind-reading game. If he says something right, you step closer. If he says something wrong, he takes a step back. Malcolm says Cole doesn't think he'll be able to help him, and he steps forward. More questions as he steps forward some and then back some. Cole tells of a drawing, a picture of a man hurt by another man with a screwdriver in his neck. They had a meeting. Mom cried. I don't draw like that anymore. I draw rainbows, dogs running now. What am I thinking now, he asks and steps back. You're nice, but you can't help me. And Cole walks away. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes I got. What'd you think?
Man, just what an opening sequence. I mean, forget for a second how great of an intro it was story wise, but holy shit, it's just shot amazingly. Like just a masterclass of visual beauty by Shyamalan. And the main cinematographer, Tak Fujimoto, who is a DGOT veteran himself, as he actually did Silence of the Freaking Lambs. And if I went through all of his credits, I'd be here all night. But I'll just shout out another little film he worked on called Star Wars. Not sure if Mike and Nico have ever heard of that one. Just a little film from the 70s. But yeah, also elite acting from Olivia Williamson and Bruce Willis. The movie takes such a sudden turn, and holy shit, props to an almost unrecognizable Donnie Wahlberg as Vincent Gray.
Dude.
Like,
Get out of my the third line of my notes literally says, "Holy shit, Donnie Wahlberg looks unrecognizable." Like word for word, that's what I typed.
I mean, he is. I was like, who is that? Wait a second, what? Yeah, it's crazy. But his performance steals the scenes, I think. I mean, just and a beautiful like pan to the painting as Vincent shoots himself. I mean, just I love the shot choices by my guy M Night. I can't say that enough. One fun fact about this scene in Spain, the movie caused amusement in an unintentional way when Vincent Gray screams, "Malcolm, you failed me!" In the dubbed, he screams correctly, "Tu me fallaste," but some people heard or understood it wrong, and it's like actually means Spanish for "you fucked me." Like so, it apparently caused a laugh in the audience with and with me when I read that because I'm a child. Also, I know it's a pretty well known thing by now, but somebody may not know that's listening. But I did notice the use of red throughout the first time I saw it, but I didn't get the significance till, admittedly, much later. Shyamalan uses red to depict the dead or really just anything ominous. Since this, he's done that in The Village, which I love. The Village. I'm in the. I know I'm in the minority when I say that, but I actually really like The Village. But he also does that in a few others as well. Very nice little touch. And apparently he'd even color correct shots if something needed, something red in it or already had something red and didn't need it in that particular shot. So yeah, I didn't catch that the first couple of watch throughs, which brings me to really this being one of the first movies that I can remember coming out where you really have to watch it multiple times to really catch everything. And speaking of catching, you aren't catching Cole. That kid runs at least a 4.5 40-yard dash. But hey, you're walking through the streets of Philadelphia by yourself as a 9-year-old kid, and boom, the Man Fuck Them Kids Award right off the bat goes to 3-time DGOT veteran Tony Collette, who knows all about that fucking award from Krampus and Hereditary, by the way. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a solid open. I mean, we get a great score and the mood set really well. I like the opening here with him, Malcolm and his wife. It shows a good dynamic of their home life. However, it causes problems for me later on. I'll get to that in the next set of scenes, or starting in the next set of scenes. And then here we go. Holy shit, Donnie Wahlberg looks unrecognizable. Like, I was looking at the cast and I was like, Donnie Wahlberg? When the fuck was Donnie Wahlberg in this movie? And I was like, wait, what? Vincent? No. And then I had to pause it and I was like, holy shit, that is him. It just doesn't. That's method acting. Shout out to him. That's something only that Christian Bale is known for doing, but he pulled it off as well.
Yes,
we meet Cole, and I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of him wearing those glasses because he didn't wear them the rest of the film. It's like they put the glasses on him in this scene just to make him look more meek and nerdy, and that kind of bothered me because I know he wore the watch later on, but it was just kind of pointless to me. You could have done something different to show that he misses his papa. So after the twist, there's things in the movie. Okay, actually, it's right here. There's things in the movie that just make it obvious kind of what the twist is. Like the dynamic between Malcolm and Anna, they just completely changed. I just have a hard time believing, based on what we saw in that opening with him and her, I have a hard time believing that after he got shot, she would just start ignoring him. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. They seemed like they had a very good marriage, a very good relationship, very loving, and he gets shot and she's just going to go cold to him. I get it. If he was consumed in his work, that can drive a wedge between a relationship, but I feel like, trauma usually closes that and heals wounds. But regardless, we get introduced to Cole's home life. I think it's really well done. It shows great dynamic between the son and the single mom. And like I said, their chemistry is just incredible. Cole is way too calm about his gift. Like, most little boys and girls, if they're seeing ghosts or they think they're seeing ghosts, would be like, Mama, there's a ghost in my room. But he's just like, nope, I got to keep this to myself. She'll think I'm crazy. I don't know. That's crazy to me. And then also, she was way too calm about all those cabinets being open. Like, she just closed them, and then boom, she comes back in the room 2 seconds later, and they're all open. She was just way too. Are you looking for Pop Tarts? They're right here, and everything's fine. But I love how, and he does it throughout the movie. But Cole just does a great job. Like, he wants that constant reassurance and that constant love, and to know that she's not judging him. He's like, "What do you think of Mama?" And do you think I'm a freak and all this? Like, he does it throughout the movie. It's just so real feeling, and that goes right back to the chemistry that those two have. But overall, it's a really, really solid open to get get the hook in, and we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, even in this opening set of scenes, I think you have some powerful stuff here, man. Now, I will say the only bad part of the movie is the opening title card sequence, where it's just a black screen with white names and ominous music. Like, I don't know, it lasts a little longer than I would like, but whatever. After that, though, we get this scene, and this is a very different role for Bruce Willis to play. We're so used to seeing him being yippee-ki-yay motherfucker and all this other stuff. And to see him in this more calm, subdued role of this child psychologist, I think is really interesting. To me, right here in the open, this is clearly a husband and wife that love each other. And so I'm glad they established that connection for us prior to winning this award. There's clearly a lot of good chemistry here. And so everything happens with Donnie Wahlberg, and I'm going to get to that. But they set that up so that later you kind of think, at least the first time you see it, that, oh, this thing that happened with the former patient maybe drove a wedge between them. Maybe he's dug himself into his work a little too much and all that. And that's why she's being so cold to him. I think that could have something to do with that. But anyway, man, Donnie Wahlberg is incredible here. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of screen time, but the first time I ever saw this movie, this scene is the reason why I freaked out immediately, because I was so scared of this character, and to lose 43 pounds just to get the roll down perfectly and just look like he's shivering cold the whole time. Like, man, I think it's great. It is a great scene. And again, I'm glad they don't show the whole thing until later, because you don't actually see the extent of Malcolm's injuries. You just see the shot, and that's it. And then we're on to him and Cole interacting, which, again, I think what we get here is kind of, it's fine. But Dustin mentioned going into the home life of Cole, and I love this mother-son dynamic. You can tell it's not even like this. A lot of horror movies, you get that thing where nobody believes the kid or nobody believes the person that can see things, hear things, feel things, whatever. We know the boyfriend trope that exists. In this, it's not like you don't get that vibe that if Cole were to tell her, she wouldn't believe him. Or at least I never got that vibe. She just wants to know what's wrong with him. Like, she wants her son to be able to talk to her, and it's killing her that he doesn't. And you even kind of get those cracks here. And, he asks her if she's thinking bad things about him, and she says, of course, I would never, feel those things about you and all that stuff. And it's just a really interesting glimpse into, the dynamic there. And I agree with Dustin. Just the fact that Cole is so calm, at least in this part, about what's going on with him, I think is just, I love that the character's written that way. He's not freaking out all the time. I just love the way that Haley Joel Osment plays it. This scene right here where Malcolm is trying to get to Cole, and he has him play a game, and he tries to guess things about him. I think that's great. Now, I don't know if that's used in real child psychology or not. I've never, taken a course on it or anything like that, but I think what a phenomenal way to try to get to the mind of a child, especially at that age. But Cole being smart enough and almost being like, no, man, you don't know me. You think you know me because you've seen a million kids, but I'm not like these other kids. You can't help me. And for him to be that young and kind of feel that way and say those things, I think is just a really good scene, man. Just their interaction there, where the character of Malcolm just kind of has to realize he's wrong on a lot of these fronts, and that leads us perfectly into the next scene at dinner. So great set of scenes, great way to open the film.
All right, Malcolm joins Anna at the restaurant he asked her to marry him in. He apologizes he can't keep track of time. He didn't have a good session today. They're both so similar. Anna looks upset, not listening. He says Cole has fingernail cuts on his arms. The waitress drops off the check, and Anna grabs it, paying the bill as Malcolm says he knows he's been distant, and she says happy anniversary and walks away. Cole tells Malcolm stop looking at me. He says Tommy hates him. Cole says he doesn't tell his mom about things. He doesn't want her to think he's a freak. That's bullshit. You're not a freak, Malcolm tells him. Lynn is doing laundry again, listening to tunes as she notices weird lights of blue beside him in his pictures. They're talking again, and Cole says no dad questions tonight. Lynn finds Cole's free association writings. He says he wrote upset words. He doesn't remember if he wrote that way before his father left. He asks Cole to think about goals in their meetings. Cole says he doesn't want to be scared anymore. Malcolm yells out if Anna will answer, then knock at the door. He goes upstairs when he hears a man's voice. It's Sean inviting her to come to some like Amish fair. He asks if she should stop by after to show what he got. She seems so down lately. We see Sean walk back and forth to the door, who frustratingly gets in his car. We're in class now, and Mr. Stanley asks what the capital was from 1790 to 1800. He speaks on its history and asks what this building was used for, and Cole raises his hand. He says they used to hang people here, and everyone stops and stares at him. Stanley says it isn't true. It used to be a courthouse. Laws were passed here. Those are the people who'd hang the people. I don't like people looking at me like that. Stop it. You're stuttering Stanley, he yells. You talked funny in high school. He covers his eyes, yelling, stuttering Stanley, and the teacher stutters and gets pissed off, pounding his fist on his desk, calling him a freak. Malcolm joins Cole in the library. I don't want to talk about anything right now. Do you like magic? Malcolm asks. He does a penny magic trick, and Cole says, it isn't magic. Malcolm walks in his home, and we see a video of a woman at their wedding telling him to make Anna happy. She'd do anything for you. I love you guys. Malcolm smiles as he watches he and Anna kiss. He goes upstairs and sees Anna showering in the mirror. He sees antidepressants in the cabinet. He goes downstairs and tries to go into the basement, but it's all locked up. Cole is now doing the penny trick on a kid. That's stupid, the kid says. We see a red balloon float to the top of the staircase, and Cole follows it upstairs. He hears voices from a closet asking someone to open the door. Tommy and Darren see Cole up there, and they head towards him. Happy birthday, Darren. Is there anything you want to see in there? They grab Cole and shove him in the closet. Cole panics, banging on the door, and the balloon pops. I thought this was funny. Lynn somehow hears the commotion over the music and heads upstairs. She tries to open the door, but it's locked. The door suddenly unlocks, and she grabs him out of the closet. All right, Brian, this next set of scenes I got. What'd you think?
Yeah, just more beautiful shots and cinematography here in this group of scenes. When Tony Collette is looking at the pictures on the wall and noticing the lens flares, like J.J. Abrams directed it or something. Just the way the camera panned over to half of the picture, but yet still had her hair in the frame, or the close-ups on her face looking at them instead of the pictures. The shot of Anna in the shower, but through the bathroom mirror that's opening, that's open, exposing the Zoloft. Look, best cinematography wasn't one of the 6 Academy Awards this thing was nominated for, but it should have been. It's a fucking gorgeous movie. Such a deep movie too, like most of Shyamalan's movies, really, but this one just, it deals with some pretty deep shit, like especially in the talks between Cole and Malcolm. So this may be just another way to kind of say what Nico and Dustin were talking about earlier, with not needing to know the twist. But the movie to me is just really as deep of a movie as you want it to be. Really, you can have it be just a movie about a twist and that's it, or you can choose to really listen to what's being said, and in much of the dialogue, and really explore a lot of these themes that make up this thing. I vehemently disagree with people who say that this movie doesn't have rewatchability after the twist. I feel that way about most of M. Night's movies. You can rewatch them time and time again and really not only pick up stuff that you missed on, but see things from a different perspective, or or hell, take in some of these themes, like in this movie of loneliness, guilt, regret, etc. That all of those are explored in this one, and I feel really strongly about that. I've got to point out that the no cut one shot of Lynn walking into the other room and then back into the kitchen to kind of find the drawers and everything are wide open. I'm a sucker for one shots, so I had to point that out. Great job there. And lastly, just reason number 9012 why Bruce Willis is such a great actor. And I say was because of his most recent diagnosis. But last set of scenes when he was writing and taking notes, and here in this group of scenes as well, Bruce Willis writes in the movie with his right hand, and he's actually in real life left-handed. So he actually learned how to write right-handed, so that we wouldn't notice that his wedding band was no longer on his left hand. It's just fucking amazing all around.
Yeah, I mean, so I really like this scene here at dinner because, again, you can look at it two ways. If you're someone that doesn't know the twist, you think she's just being cold for being late to an anniversary dinner, and she's kind of justified, at least in my opinion. If you're late to an anniversary dinner, I think you kind of deserve the cold shoulder, unless there's some really emergency excuse. But we kind of have picked up, at least fakely, have picked up maybe there's a pattern of behavior here. So she seems justified in her actions. But knowing the twist, it's almost heartbreaking from the other end. Like, he's trying to talk to her, and he's not even there. I mean, it's just gut-wrenching, even when you know the twist. So I think very well pulled off. As far as these two interacting, they do a pretty good job, especially with the hindsight of knowing what happens in the end. I think they do a pretty good job of making it seem like there's just some tension there. I know that they don't ever really talk, and when they do, it's kind of coincidence. So, like, they find a good way to pull it off, at least in my opinion. I will say this scene at the school is so tense to me, where he's going back and forth with the teacher. Somebody was hung. People were hung here, and no, this was a courthouse. Which, by the way, people used to be hung at the courthouse, so that would not shock me if those two things were the same places. But anyway, I think that's such a great tension-filled scene. The stuttering Stanley, and the sound that they get on that. They keep cranking up the volume. There's so much good tension there. I love it. Great job. You mentioned some of the cinematography. I agree with you. I have that here as well. It's just some of the shots you get, especially of Philadelphia, the city, and what time of year it is. And I just think, they do a really good job of nailing that part. This magic trick thing, I think, is really, it's almost cute because he's trying to make him laugh. And, Cole kind of says that magic trick sucks, basically. But then he turns around and tries it on a kid at the party to try to make friends. And clearly he's just not made out to be friends with a lot of his classmates with all this stuff lingering over his head with the divorce of his parents and seeing dead people and just all this stuff. He feels like an awkward outcast, and he uses the joke that he got from his dead psychologist to try to make friends, and it doesn't work. I just think that's a really cool way they did that there. This scene, last thing, this scene at the party is tough, man. I mean, it is heartbreaking. I know we kind of joke about, how we bully Nico on this show, and we do bully Nico for not seeing a lot of movies. Well, hey, buddy, we love you. It's all out of love. We'd be so lost without you. Thank you. Be here all week. But no, look, this scene is tough, man. To see somebody get bullied and picked on like that in real time, and they just get shoved in a closet. I don't think you understand. I don't know if it's the same way now, but kids were assholes, man. I mean, I was a kid at this time. Kids were buttholes to each other. And I'm sure in a way they still are. But, this just kind of took me back. I was never bullied this way, and I don't think I ever bullied anyone this way. But it got at me, man, because I'm sure there's a million kids. And if you're listening to this show, I'm sure you have maybe a similar experience to Cole where, you were physically bullied the way that Cole is here, and to throw him in the closet, and we know that he's in there interacting with a dead person, but no one else does. And just golly, and Toni Collette fantastic here as she's just screaming and he's screaming and she's screaming. And again, a lot of tension. Great set of scenes as usual. I have a really hard time finding anything to nitpick. So this is going to be a lot like Shutter Island, where I just don't have a whole lot of negative. There is one small negative later, but I mean, it's very minute. So again, another great set of scenes.
Yeah. So this might be my least favorite set of scenes, though,
And that's
in the whole
fair.
movie.
I think that's fair.
It's just, to me, it's very clear that something's up. Even if you don't know that he's dead, there's something very clearly up. Like, she wouldn't. I get it if he's late to an anniversary dinner. That's a big deal, but she wouldn't just completely ignore him and not say a word. And I get it. She said happy anniversary as she got up, but like grabbing the check, I don't know, like something. And then especially when you get to the next set, when the guy stops by the house and he's very clearly hitting on her and her not saying I'm married, or, I'm married, or my husband could be home any moment. Like, it's just, those are things I remember. I don't remember how old I was when I saw this movie. I think I was in high school, but I just remember being like a little suspicious of that. Like, that's weird. Cole's outburst, to me, like, I get it. It's very iconic, especially the Stuttering Stanley. But it's really out of place to me. It's kind of strange. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me because he doesn't have a reason to know about the teacher's stuttering problem from his youth, or whatever the backstory was there. Like, ghosts are visiting him. We come to find out because they want help with something. And
well, later in the movie, they that same teacher talks about how they had a fire at that place, and that building burned when he went to school there. So I'm guessing somebody that he knows died in that fire, knows he used to get made fun of for being Stuttering Stanley. So I guess he would know that.
But you're guessing. Like, it's just not really.
Well, that's the only thing that makes sense.
Exactly. But it's not like that. Like, that's a stretch to get there, though. Like, it's not explicitly told to us. But, like, because when he's in the car with his mom at the end, he's like, "Grandma said this," or, we get to see the sister say, "Take this to my dad," or whatever. We don't have, like, that was just a thing they threw in, and I don't know. It just felt out of place to me. When he goes into the bathroom, and also it's not really consistent with Cole's behavior. Like, we hear that he's this troubled kid, and
that part's fair.
Told us that
that's fair.
He told us that he stabbed. He drew the picture of the guy stabbing the other guy in the neck, but we didn't see any of this. He just seems like a very meek and quiet and troubled kid. But anyway, so when he goes into the bathroom and he's watching his wife in the mirror there, like, it's a very like Brian said, it's a well shot scene. I like the way, the perspective they used on that, because really, has an excuse to show us that she's on antidepressants now. But another kind of giveaway to the twist here, though, is, you find out your wife's on antidepressants, and he's very clearly concerned by that. Like, you can see the look of concern on his face. He doesn't say a word to her. He just walks down to his basement. It's like the movie took liberties to keep us from figuring it out, when logically we would figure this out a long time ago, because he would be asking her. And so one of the things I was going to save it, I've got it in my notes for later, but I really wish that they just showed us less Malcolm and Anna.
That's Anna. Fair. Yeah.
Because then, he could just be telling Cole that his home life is suffering. He's not as close to his wife and everything, but we don't need to see it, because then we can imagine in our own mind. But seeing it kind of takes away from me. And then they get to this birthday party or whatever the hell it was. Who the fuck doesn't know about Charles Entertainment Cheese? Come on. She said Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, what's that? It's a kid's place. Like, come on. Everybody knows what Charles E. Cheese is. But
damn right. The pizza was underrated. There, I said it.
God.
It is, man. It's greasy as shit. But anyway.
Greasy, cheesy pizza. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
All right.
So, this scene's fine and everything. He gets stuffed in the closet. What I hate about it, though, and it's the only time they do it in the whole damn movie, is when she pulls him out of the closet. That dramatic delayed slow motion camera effect they used. Hated that. They don't use it any other spot in the entire movie. Shouldn't use it there. You don't need that. It's obviously dramatic. Her kid's fucking unconscious after he was just in a locked closet and the door just unlocked itself. That's dramatic enough. You don't need to use that camera filter to add to it.
All right, tests indicate he didn't have a seizure. He's doing fine and he can go home tonight. There's some cuts and bruises on your son. And she says, that's from sports. You think I hurt my child? You think I'm a bad mother? Doctor says a social worker will ask procedural questions. Something happened to him today. Malcolm joins Cole as he lies in the hospital bed. He tells a story of a young prince who goes on a drive. Drove so much he fell asleep. Cole interrupts saying you gotta have twists and stuff in bedtime stories. Your eyes told me you're sad, Cole says. Malcolm now tells Cole his story of working with children. He couldn't help one child and can't stop thinking about it or forget. Ever since then, he's not the same. His wife doesn't like the person he's become. Malcolm decides to help the new boy because if he can help him, it's like helping that other one too. I don't know how the story ends. Cole tears up and says, I want to tell you my secret now. I see dead people. In your dreams? While you're awake. And he shakes his head yes. Like graves and coffins? Walking around like normal people, but they only see what they want to see. I see them all the time. They're everywhere. Will you stay here until I fall asleep? Malcolm makes recordings on his visions he sees, and it says, possible schizophrenia. I'm not helping him. Lynn carries Cole to bed and takes his shoes off. She finds cuts in his sweater and checks his back, and we see scars. She weeps, not knowing what is wrong. She calls Tommy's parents about why her kid can't keep his hands off her son. Cole wakes up, and he hesitantly goes to the bathroom. He begins to pee, and we see the thermostat drop. We see someone walk past the bathroom door. He flushes and heads to the kitchen. He hears rustling noises and calls for Mama, but it's a different woman with bruises on her face and cuts on her wrist. She yells, Nettie, you're a terrible husband. Look what you made me do, as he runs into his fort and shines his light on the Jesus statues. We're at a play now as Malcolm watches. Cole asks if he thought the play sucked. Malcolm says he'd like to hear more about what he said at the hospital. He turns around and sees Cole frozen as Cole sees 3 people hanging in the hallway. Malcolm asks if something is up there. I don't see anything. Be real still. Sometimes you feel it inside like you're falling real fast. When they get mad, it gets cold. I don't see anything. You sure they're there, Cole? Lynn pushes Cole in a buggy real fast, and he puts his hands up, having fun. We see the cough syrup commercial Tommy was in, and Cole chunks his shoe at the TV. Lynn says the thermostat is broken. She sits down to eat and says to get the gloves off the table. She says she saw what was in his drawer. Anything you want to confess? The bumblebee pendant. Why you keep taking it? It's Grandma's. She asks if he moved it, and he says, don't get mad. I am so tired, Cole, in my body, mind, heart. I need some help. Our little family isn't doing so good. If we can't talk to each other, we're not going to make it. She asks if he took it again, and he says no. She sends him away from the table. Go! He walks to his room, and a boy with a gunshot in the back of his head says, come on. Lynn calls for their dog, and Cole asks if you're not very mad, can I sleep in your bed tonight? She asks why is he shaking, and she squeezes him. Please tell me. All right, Brian, this is the next set of scenes I got. What'd you think?
You know, we get our trademark Shyamalan cameo at the start of this set of scenes. You know, of course, back then, we had no idea that that was really him. At least I didn't either anyway. Obviously, the famous I see dead people scene. And you kind of think that maybe that's the big twist. And I mean, of course it's not, but we're halfway through the movie now. And to me, it kind of really sends this whole entire movie down a completely different path now. It's perfect timing for it because now it kind of allows M. Night to have a little fun with it. To show these things that Cole's been seeing now, and to let the audience in from Cole's perspective. It also keeps at least my mind occupied now with this new realization and this new almost twist, just more and more steering us away from what we'll eventually get. A little fun fact about this scene: when Cole says it, the camera does a close up on Bruce Willis's face. Well, apparently, producer Frank Marshall was worried that might have given the game away right there. But during test screenings, and fortunately, none of the audience in the test screenings or afterwards picked it up on it, so the shot was left in. And I love the way everything about that was done. But yeah, so this is where And I know it's always debated whether this is horror or not. You know, we do subgenres, this and that and the other. But to me, like, this is where you can make the argument for horror starts to come in. I mean, now
Yeah,
you get
I agree.
now you get those horror aspects
Yeah.
of the movie. They really kick in with the ghosts, and I think it does a really good job with those jump scares that it gives you as well. Uh, Funny thing about that whole Jungle Book little play that they were doing, and I'll shut up. But the one they had at the school, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not, Haley Joel Osment voiced Mowgli in the Jungle Book 2. Bare necessities, those good old bare necessities of life. Anyway, I didn't find that in any fun facts, by the way. I just kind of put that together. Obviously, that wasn't on purpose since Jungle Book 2 didn't come out till like the early 2000s. I just thought it was kind of ironic, unintentional foreshadowing there. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, almost as soon as you see M Night Shyamalan, you're like the Leo DiCaprio meme. You're like, there he is. But also, I almost this like line of her meeting with a social worker, I thought was definitely the most predictable thing about the movie. Just because at some point, when stuff keeps happening to your kid, people are going to start questioning the mom or any parent really about what's going on in the home. So I think it's a pretty logical thing from an outsider's perspective to kind of reach. So I thought that made it. I mean, that just made me feel for her so much because what do you say? Because you don't know what Cole's going through. If you're her, I mean, there really isn't anything you can say except I haven't done anything. What happened to my son? Now, the I See Dead People scene is, I mean, it's good, and I really like the way that Malcolm kind of tells the story of why he's there helping Cole, and I think that's good good exposition. Like I think that we kind of, or I feel like Cole needed that a little more than we did as an audience because we know. But I think to have that on film or in a scene, I think is really good to do, and it kind of opens the door to where Cole feels comfortable enough to tell Malcolm his secret. And again, iconic scene. There's no doubt it's been talked about to death. I mean, I think Haley Joel Osment is really good, and I think Bruce Willis is really good in this scene too. Just kind of keeps it calm, doesn't say, "Oh man, you're seeing things, you're crazy," anything else. Just like really plays it well off of him, and I think it works. This scene at the dinner table is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It is so intense, and it breaks your heart because again, Cole's not lying. But if you're his mom, what are you supposed to think if this bumblebee pendant keeps getting moved? I mean, if it's not her, it's got to be him. There's no one else in this house. Now, I will say, at the beginning of the movie, back further when she's cleaning the house and sees the kind of orbs in the picture, you would think maybe you would at least ask him or start piecing this stuff together where the bumblebee pendant keeps getting moved and it's missing and all this other stuff. You would think like, Cole, are you like seeing things like what's going on here? But they never really put those two things together like I kind of hope they would. But and then I think you finally get to see the kid, the back of his head. I think that looks, man, those are good effects. That looks like a good shotgun blast to the back of the head. I thought that looked really good. And just the dog, I don't know how they got the dog to act so scared, but however they did that, I thought they did a great job. The dog was even good in this movie. That's how you know that this is a good cast. And just the real, really good motherly nature that his mom has here to just lay all that down because he's scared and she's scared and the dog's scared and everybody's kind of worked up emotionally to kind of lay that all down and let him sleep in her bed. I thought was a really nice touch. So again, good set of scenes here and has one of the more iconic scenes of all time in it.
Yeah. So you mentioned it. We get our patented M Night Shyamalan cameo, and like you said, Brian, we didn't realize it at the time that would be a staple of his movies. Hell, I didn't even realize until I'd seen signs a few times that he was the guy sitting in the driveway there. Because at the time, it was like, okay, it's just an extra. But
100% agree. I was the same way. I don't even know when I found out that he was on all the movies and that was him either until
Right.
way late down the road.
Same. We get the iconic line from Cole here. It's a great scene. It's just great acting from Haley Joel Osment. He just killed everything. He does such a great job of conveying raw emotion. The fact that he was, I think, 11 at the time of filming this, like, just incredible acting chops there from a youngster. We've shit on child actors on this podcast plenty of times, and this is like the gold standard. But one of the things that kind of is weird to me is you would think that Malcolm would be able to see fellow ghosts. I don't know. Maybe they did that so that we wouldn't catch on to it. But when they're walking through the hall and he stops and he's like,
Right.
there's people swinging from the hallway there. Malcolm says, I don't see anything. So
I guess it's because he doesn't know he's dead. That's the only, because I said the same thing too. But my only thing is, I guess Malcolm he doesn't know he's dead, so he's not going to be able to see anything. He's like Ed, Ed, and Eddie. He's in purgatory. Great theory, by the way, that I believe.
Wait, he's dead? What?
Oh, sorry. My bad. Spoiler.
I love the scene in the parking lot we get here, like her running and pushing the buggy with Cole in it. Like, it's just such a pure moment between like didn't add anything to the story, but it just really drove home the pure nature of their relationship. And then we go from that to the powerful stuff at them eating dinner, and then from that to immediately after that, he's like, and I love how he calls her mama. I like how it's mama instead of mom. Like, I don't know, that was just a nice touch. And I like how he talks, like, if you're not very mad. And she's like, look, and her thing is always, look at my face. Like, I don't know. It's just great touches, great acting from both of them. And, she's
no way
holding him.
you can't be mad at a kid like that.
No. Whether you think he's truly lying or not, which, by the way, how do you not right there? This is taking a step back from watching the movie and just thinking logically. I know he was 11 when filmed the movie, but he was supposed to be 9 in the movie. So if you're a 9-year-old kid and your mom is clearly pissed because she thinks you're lying, how do you not just say, Mom is a ghost? Like, whether that's the truth or not, like, if you feel, like, I don't know if that's really plausible that he would keep that close to the chest at the sake of she'll think I'm crazy if I tell her the truth. I don't know about that. Right. But just very powerful stuff with her holding him and consoling him and him shaking. Like, that's just pure chemistry there. But this set of scenes is much better than the last set of scenes to me. It really, and it's just because of the acting that we get from Toni Collette and Haley Joel Osment.
All right, we're in a jewelry store now as a couple shops, and the man asks if they have anything plainer. Anna says to try it on and see how they feel about it. Anna goes to wrap up the ring as Sean brings a bench upstairs. She hands him a birthday gift. It's a first edition book. She jokes she took it out his Christmas bonus in an awkward moment where they don't kiss. We hear a glass shattering sound. Someone bashed in the front door's glass, and we see Malcolm walking away. Malcolm tells Cole, I can't be your doctor anymore. Malcolm says he has to be with his family more. Cole begs him to stay. He can help him. You believe me, right? I don't know how to answer that, Cole. Cole slides the penny to him. How can you help me if you don't believe me? Some magic's real, he says, with tears in his eyes. Malcolm relives the moment with Vincent and listens back on some of their sessions. He rewinds and listens over and over. He turns the volume up and he hears a faint voice. He hears someone speaking Spanish. Cole stops him in the church. Something happened, didn't it? You wigging out? He says the Spanish translated means I don't want to die. What do these ghosts want when they talk to you? I think I know how to make them go away. Listen to them. Cole seems sketched out by that. Malcolm sees Sean get in his vehicle and calls for him, but he drives away. Lynn calls for Cole, sobbing, and he wakes up and runs to her room. What's happening to me? Is someone hurting you? He rubs her face, and she calms down. Cole goes back into his fort and is freezing cold. The clothespins unsnap, and we see Kyra in the fort vomiting. He runs out and hides behind a chair. Cole goes back to the fort and removes the blanket. She says she's feeling much better now. Do you want to tell me something? He asks her. Cole and Malcolm are on a bus now heading to Kyra's viewing. Kyra had been examined by 6 different doctors. Cole and Malcolm head upstairs, and he tells Malcolm not to go home. Cole goes into Kyra's old room. We see all her string puppets as he's grabbed from under the bed. Kyra slides him a box. Cole goes downstairs and finds her father. Excuse me, mister. Are you Kyra's daddy? It's for you. She wanted to tell you something as he hands him the box. Mr. Collins opens the box and sees a VHS. He plays it and we see her playing with the puppets. She finishes playing and moves the puppets out of sight. Miss Collins walks in and we see she has been poisoning her food for months. The father watches in devastation and shock. She says she's feeling better and asks can she go outside after this. We'll see. You get sick in the afternoon and don't say it tastes funny. The tape cuts and the father confronts her in front of everyone. You were keeping her sick. Cole is on a swing with the younger daughter and says Kyra isn't coming back. And the next set of scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so much like this set of scenes that's just forgotten when people talk about The Sixth Sense. I mean, in this set of scenes, I was so enthralled during the set of scenes watching this movie again. That there's just not a whole lot of notes that I took because it was so good. And there's just something about this set that really pulls you into this movie even more. I mean, you can sense when you're watching this that you're close to the end. You aren't sure what's going to happen. We got Malcolm finally believing Cole. I mean, the screenplay, I think, is just beautifully written. On top of that, you have this entire layer of what we think is marriage problems with Malcolm and his wife and this implied affair. There's just so much going on here. And, like the scene we get with Misha Barton, again, barely recognizable Misha Barton. I don't think we've done any episodes with her so far. I know we've gotten to just about all the rest of her OC co-stars, but I don't think we've done any with her. I think
I don't think so. Yeah.
This is the first time on the show. But you really, I like the tension, and I feel like that it's really at its highest that it's been all movie with that because we're now familiar with these ghosts. We know what's going to come. There's a lot of like just very good visuals, with the red tint, that falls over on her head, kind of giving her that classic ghost look too. M. Night implements just some shaky cam, I think, which he hasn't really done a ton during this movie. And I think that coupled with the soundtrack by James Newton Howard, who isn't a newcomer to the show either, with stuff like, he's done I Am Legend in the past that we've reviewed and Signs, but also did the Nolan Batman trilogy. But all of that really comes together to kind of give this just really intense set of scenes, leading us all to that funeral home scene, which was just so fucking powerful to me. Even if it does get off the beaten path a little bit of the main story, it's so powerful to me. I mean, it almost brought me to tears. Again, there's just so many layers to this movie, and I love it.
For the one line you don't want to say to your future wife / fiance is, "You have anything plainer?" Oh no, oh no, he probably slept on the couch. But yeah, and again, I love how, even in hindsight, I think the fact that they layer this thing with these marriage problems or these perceived marriage problems that Malcolm is having. You almost forget the twist sometimes when you get kind of like locked into that story, and you kind of you're always pulling for those two to work it out. Like, even though you know what's coming, like you're always pulling for those two to kind of pull the nose up because Malcolm seems like a really good guy that's trying to help Cole. And I mean, you want him to save his marriage, even though it's obviously impossible. So I agree with you. I love that they've kind of, layered that in, and, she's got this guy a gift for his birthday, and we know, the first time you see it, you're like, man, what the hell? This is getting way off track here. What's going on? But obviously it's because she's starting to kind of feel at least something again for someone, which is even more devastating when you really think about the whole scope of this thing. Just, God, your heart breaks for Malcolm, honestly. Okay. This, I said at the beginning of the show, this movie makes me cry every time I watch it. And this is scene one where it gets me every single time. First of all, you get a really good performance by young Misha Barton, who I think plays her perfect, or who plays her character perfect. And you said it gets off the beaten path a little bit. I agree, but it also does accomplish something. It accomplishes the fact that he gets the advice for Malcolm to maybe help these ghosts. Once Malcolm realizes that, Donnie Wahlberg's character was kind of the same situation, and he should have kind of picked up on the signs then. He's going to help Cole now. And I think him being so brave and strong enough to help these ghosts as a young child, I think really just, man, you have to be pulling for Cole, and like, what a kid, to just really step up to the plate and help these people because he's someone that can help. And I think I love that. I love that. And I do think while this scene does get a little bit off our story narrative, I think it actually, it accompanies it nicely to me. The scene itself is just freaking tough to watch, man. And, we've seen true crime things about this happening in real life. So I think the fact that it does happen here in this movie is realistic enough for me. Just so gut-wrenching to sit there and watch it with the dad through the lens of his eyes. It just, God, it gets me every time, man. It never fails. And the best part of that scene to me is Haley Joel Osment as he's handing this box over. Such a young, innocent kid. He's like, his voice kind of gets a little high there. It's almost like he's back to being Forrest Gump's son a little bit. Just kind of like how high pitched his voice is there. But I always found that part kind of funny. But I do think the way he delivers that box is so great. Again, just a really powerful set of scenes for multiple reasons. But this is time number one where I absolutely do at least get a little watery-eyed every single time I watch it.
Yeah, I think it's a very odd scene to show us Anna selling that ring.
Like, I agree with that. Yeah, that's a little out of place.
Unnecessary. And a couple things from it. Number one, this makes me wonder how much time has passed between Malcolm's death and this set of scenes. And number two, Malcolm obviously doesn't know he's dead. He wouldn't just break a window and walk away if he saw his wife about to kiss another man, which, by the way, how did he see that? If that's the reason, like, what was his reason for breaking the window then? Like, I just have questions about that altogether because they were in the back of the store and came out after they heard the sound, and he's just walking down the street. Nah, man, you see your wife in the grasp of another man's arms, you're gonna fucking knock him, not the window. But when he meets back up with Cole, Cole saying, "You wigging out?" Like, I don't know why, but that line cracks me up every time. You wigging out, like that. That's hilarious to me. He's like, "Yeah, I think I am." But so I like the progression and the growth of the character for Cole, and realizing, okay, I can do this. Let's just nut up. It's time to nut up or shut up. Let's help these ghosts if that's what they really want. And he takes the bus ride, puts his little clip-on tie on, goes inside and handles business. But damn, Ghost didn't have to grab his leg like that. Like, that's a creepy-ass bedroom as is. And he's trying to help you. You could have been, less of a dick about it. You didn't have to grab his leg from underneath the bed. That's scary as shit. But the thing is, though, I agree. The way he delivered the box was, you could see the emotion there, and it was very tough to watch the, scene that was recorded with we're watching it with the dad there. That's tough to watch. But it's a little convenient, how the camera just happened to be in place, and she just happened to set the tray of food down right in front of the camera and pour the shit in the food right in front of it. That's a shortcut, Mr. Shyamalan. Like, that's a shortcut. Like, it's just a little too convenient for my taste. But overall, still a good set of scenes because it shows us that we're going somewhere. Like, now he's on a mission. He's got to help these ghosts to get him, to leave him the fuck alone. So, good set of scenes.
All right, guys, here's the ending. And if you haven't teared up yet, I'm sure the ending will make you now. Stanley says they're calling for a stable boy and asks who is he talking to as we see a burned woman walk away. I was just practicing my lines. The play continues as Cole, who is King Arthur, and he removes the sword from the rock. Malcolm watches on as they say, "Hail King Arthur," and carry him away. Malcolm applauds and smiles. I thought you were great in the play, and I think Tommy sucked big time. I got an idea how you can talk to your wife. Wait until she's asleep. I won't see you anymore, will I? I think we've said everything we need to say. Maybe it's time to say things to someone who's closer to you. I'm going to go now. I'll see you tomorrow, Cole. Malcolm smiles and walks away. We're in a traffic jam now, and Lynn asks if he's mad because he missed the play. I have 2 jobs. You know how important they are. I'm ready to communicate with you now, he says. Tell you my secrets. He tells her someone got hurt in the accident. A lady. She died. He says she's right beside his window. She doesn't see anyone and says, You're scaring me. They scare me too sometimes. He tells her he sees ghosts. They want me to do things for them. They're the ones that used to hurt me. What are you thinking, Mama? You think I'm a freak? She says she'd never think that. He says Grandma says hi. She's sorry for taking the bumblebee pendant. She just likes it a lot. Grandma visits me. She says that's very wrong. She's gone. She wanted me to tell you she saw you dance. When you were little, you had a fight before your recital, and you thought she didn't come and see you dance. She did. She hid in the back so you wouldn't see. You were like an angel. She said you came to the place you buried her and asked her a question. She said the answer is every day. What did you ask her? Do I make her proud? They hug in the car and cry together. Malcolm goes inside his home and we see Anna asleep in the chair. She's watching her father's wedding speech. Malcolm hears her say, I miss you. I miss you too. Why, Malcolm? Why did you leave me? I didn't leave you. We hear something fall and we see his wedding band. Malcolm flashes back to he and Cole's talk and he realizes he's dead. He backs away from her and sees one meal at the table. He sees the basement blocked off and we see Anna's cold breath. Back to the night he was shot and she checks out his gunshot wound. He grabs his wounded area and we see blood pour on the mattress and filling the back of his shirt. Anna, I think I'm okay. I think it just went in and out. It doesn't hurt anymore. Malcolm sits in front of Anna and says, I think I can go now. I just needed to do a couple of things. I needed to help someone. I think I did. And I needed to tell you something. You were never second, ever. I love you. You sleep now. Everything will be different in the morning. Good night, Malcolm. Good night, sweetheart. He closes his eyes as the screen cuts to them dancing at their wedding. An M Night Shyamalan film and end credits roll. All right, Brian, what do you think about the ending?
Well, the play makes me smile at the start of it, just to get this kicked off with this. It's everything coming full circle for Cole and him finally getting what he wanted as far as being carried around by everyone on their shoulders. Just not after a grand slam, like as far as like what he originally said, but and man, Haley Joel Osment saying goodbye to Malcolm on the stairs. He's just phenomenal child actor, like Dustin said. I mean, definitely one of the best, if not the best, that we've ever reviewed on the show. And and coupled with that scene in the car with Tony Collette and them talking about grandma, it's just incredible work. In any scene that can draw that kind of emotional response from you from most people, it's just incredible. Apparently, that scene in the car was the audition scene for Toni Collette as well, and that's what drew her to want to work on this film. Just all in all, just fantastic fucking ending.
I have that right here too, Brian. I literally said, "What a cool way to start this set of scenes with this play." The emotional roller coaster, the last 20 minutes takes you on, maybe a little less. The last 18 minutes takes you on is just incredible. The highest of highs with Cole getting, kind of carried around by everyone after the play. And, the bully kids kind of happened to play really shitty bit parts. I thought was a really nice touch. And then you get into this scene with Cole and Malcolm. And obviously it's clear that Malcolm has done his job. He has helped Cole. He has figured out the key to this whole thing with him seeing the ghost is that to help the ghost so they don't hurt him. But at the same time, we don't realize it the first time you see it, but Cole has helped him move on to the afterlife instead of being here, and being around like he has been. Cole has helped him as well. And so it's a very powerful scene between those two. The last time we get them together, like you said, just phenomenal by Haley Joel Osment, man. To just for the line, just for pretend at the end is really, really good. And the smile you get when Malcolm says, "See you tomorrow, Cole," like, just, man, gets me every time. But nothing could have prepared me for this car scene. Oh my God, man. This is some tough stuff for me to make it through. This is time number 2 that I cry because, I mean, we all had grandparents, and if you were close with them, not close, whatever. That kind of stuff just pulls at your heartstrings, man. And in the real time, the acting from Toni Collette to start to realize she's starting to believe Cole in real time, like her facial expressions, knowing that her son is telling the truth about the woman on her bike getting hit and dying, and she's outside the car window, and all of the other people, they're the ones who hurt me, and all this stuff. And the last line about she said every day, and what Toni Collette asked, just man, it's so good. I can't do it justice. Just go watch it. Actually, the whole scene is on YouTube. If you're in the mood for a good cry, you got to let it out sometimes. That's one you could go watch, in my opinion, man. I think it's a great scene. And again, this twist here at the end, sometimes to me, and again, the first time you see it, you're like, wow, okay, did not see that coming. That's freaking awesome. But upon further rewatches, it's almost not important. It is, because we kind of get the resolution to Malcolm's situation, his self-realization that he is dead and has been dead, and that's why him and his wife had poor communication. Like, that's good that we can wrap that up and he can move on and she can move on, and I think that's nice. But this twist itself, after you see it once or maybe even twice, kind of becomes irrelevant, and you just get so locked into the other stories. So it's a good twist. It was, at the time, it's what made this movie so powerful. And that's a double-edged sword for M. Night Shyamalan, because now he's the twist guy. Now, there was no twist in Stuart Little that I remember, but go ahead and say it, Brian.
Twist his dick.
There you go, buddy. I had to let you get your shit in, pal. But he is the twist guy, and I'm sure it doesn't bother him. He's never said that it bothered him in interviews I've listened to. But to kind of have that in every movie, and we've reviewed Signs and we've reviewed The Visit, and those all have a twist. But see, I love Signs, the movie, but the twist doesn't do a whole lot for me in Signs. The twist in The Visit is a holy shit moment, at least the first time I saw it, because I had no idea. I just thought they were going to have all in all, man, I just love the end. I think it's such a powerful film from start to finish. I mean, yeah, there's a few down periods, but not much, man. I think from start to end, it's damn near perfect.
All right, so I thought it was funny when they show him backstage before the play, and someone's helping him with his makeup or whatever. Teacher comes back there and he's like, "Who are you talking to?" He's like, "I was practicing my lines." That shit's hilarious because he didn't say one fucking word. He just went out there and pulled the damn sword out of the stone. He didn't say any lines, but that was funny to me. It's a very emotional scene with Cole telling his mom his secret, and about his grandma that seeing the car. Yeah, you said it, guys. That's a very powerful moment between son and mother. I thought the twist was very well done. I think it just could have been so much more effective, though, had we not seen, if we didn't see Malcolm away from Cole as much. Like, we didn't need to see him and Anna together as much, because it's like, it's not really believable based on the open that we saw, how close they were. Then he's shot, and she's just going to completely stop talking to him because he got shot and start cheating on him. I doubt that. But that's just maybe a nitpick. We see the aftermath of him being shot here, and what happened the rest of that night. And I don't know, maybe he may not have died if she would have called 911 instead of just letting him fucking bleed out on the bed. What the hell was that about, dude? She didn't reach for a phone not one time. So maybe it was all a ploy to just get his life insurance. I don't really know what's going on there, but it's a very overall, it's a very good movie. I liked it. Like I said, the twist, it doesn't hinder the rewatchability for me as much as I've seen others say, just because the movie itself is so well done. The cinematography, the acting from top to bottom, the script, the screenplay, the score, everything is very well done. But yeah, I like it. Good pick.
All right, guys, let's jump into our social media comments and questions. Let's start with Facebook first. Kevin Potoff is here with a really funny one. Probably the only good movie M. Night has done. I went to see it the Monday after its opening weekend with my girlfriend and her friend. As the movie started, her friend said, "Well, Bruce is dead, right? Fuck her." Yeah, why would you spoil that? That's terrible. Let's jump over.
No
That's
wonder
shitty, but
man, that sucks.
No wonder he hates everything.
To what he said there about this being the only good movie, now I can't get on board with that, but I will say I hope to God we never review the movie Old, and I'll leave it at that.
It one day. I like that movie. Me and Mike tag team on that one. I think me and him.
I said I like Old.
Old is good. All right.
He's a fucking turd.
Let's go to Twitter now. Kevin Scanlon tweeted, "This movie is another example of a masterclass in filmmaking. Direction, story, acting, score, etc. are all great. The downfall of this movie is that once you know the twist, there is no real desire to go back and ever watch it again." I want to disagree with you, Kevin. I like this movie. I liked it even more the second time I watched it knowing the twist. So I kind of got to disagree with you, brother. That scene at the two ending scenes are just so powerful. I loved it. What y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I said mine during the thing. I completely agree with you. I think there's so much you catch on subsequent viewings.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I agree. It's just, it makes the scenes make more sense, the reason why they're not communicating, but it also is like, well, damn, I wish they didn't show them together.
That's fair. I think that's a fair one.
Richie Barnes, he tweeted, "Chill on the spoilers. Going to check this one out soon."
Brother, I don't know how to tell you this, but this movie came out in 1999. It's not our fault you haven't seen it yet.
I think that was sarcasm, right?
Yeah.
I think so. I hope so, Richie. I hope so.
All right, Sean Irwin tweeted, "Man, I haven't seen this one in forever. Where would you rank this on all of Shyamalan's movies?" I haven't seen all of them, but of the ones I've seen, I would put it top 2 with The Visit for me personally.
Yeah, I said it earlier. This one and Signs are my favorites.
I'm same as Dustin.
Yeah,
I'm actually ahead of Old.
I'm actually I mean, I don't love Old, but it's just not like I don't think it's the steaming turd that you do. It's not great or anything, though. That's fair.
I have never seen a bad.
It's no Nether Beast Incorporated.
I've never seen a bad one.
That's much better than Old.
Brother,
hang on. I told you, for the budget that Old had, the sound quality sounded like they recorded the sound in a fucking changing room at JCPenney. Like there was echoes and they're supposed to be on a beach.
That was oddly
specific. All right, we got one more question from Michelle.
Also, what I've done in a changing room at JCPenney and how I know it echoes.
Obviously.
Mine was an Aeropostale. Anyway, hey, man.
Their changing rooms aren't even like off to the side. They're right there in the middle of the fucking store, bud.
I know.
Okay.
This is my favorite M. Night movie. Number 2 is probably the same as Nico's first one, which is The Visit.
Hell yeah, brother. Sure. All right, Michelle tweeted, "Great choice, guys. The obvious question would be about the twist, but I want to know if any of you believe in ghosts or spirits." I do. I do, personally. Spirits, not ghosts.
I think I speak for Brian when I say, fuck them. Yes. I don't necessarily... I'm not going to speak for Brian on this, but because I don't think we've ever actually discussed this. I don't necessarily believe in ghosts this movie portrays, like the spirit of a human, but I do believe in like spirits, and there's good spirits and bad spirits, demons. I definitely believe in demons, and they can stay the fuck out of this house.
So I 100% do not believe in ghosts at all. I believe in demons. I believe in angels, and I believe that demons do a lot to trick people into thinking that they're communicating with dead relatives when they're in fact not. That's where I stand with it.
Yeah, so we are alike on that.
I do not. I will pass on from there.
All right, let's jump over to Instagram now. Chris_2020 commented, "Sadly had the twist spoiled before I got to see it for myself, but still amazing.
Man.
How was a twist from you guys' perspective in the theaters or seeing it for the first time affect you?" Hey, I'm with you, brother. I already knew the twist myself, but honestly, it had no effect on me. I thought the movie was fantastic regardless.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't. I said at the beginning, I don't remember when I first watched it, but I mean, this movie doesn't get any worse on subsequent viewings.
yeah, little 7-year-old me shit myself, like I said in the beginning of the movie. So yes, it worked on me.
That's crazy because 20-something-year-old.
I know, brother. Hey, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh my god!
It's called irritable bowel syndrome.
Will you come on? Let's go. I'm not cutting all this shit.
He worked himself into a shoot on my porch. But
he called the shit poop.
Learn how to open a fucking door. Anyway,
he's a little inebriated, pal. Back in my drinking days. But so yeah, I remember when I saw this movie the first time. I didn't know the twist beforehand, but like I said earlier, it wasn't like a oh shit moment. It was more of a oh, that makes everything make so much more sense then. Like, no wonder his wife was so cold to him. Like, she couldn't fucking see him. And it was literally cold. You could see her breath. So it makes a lot more sense to me.
All right. Jay Hambrick, 88 comment. I remember watching it when I was young and didn't much care for it because I didn't think it was really horror. Just a good story with horror elements in it. I do remember I was like, what the hell at the ending, though? I wasn't expecting it. See, sometimes a good ending can redeem a movie, though. I do agree with that.
Clarify though.
So, go ahead, Dustin. I'm sorry.
Did he say he didn't? They said he didn't like it because it wasn't horror. So are they saying that's the only kind of movies they like is horror?
I don't know. Ask him, bro. I don't know.
Jeez, all right.
I'm just reading the comment, man. All right, the last comment we got is from Fairy Chick. What a twist! Was not expecting that at all. Great movie all around. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this with a smiley face. I appreciate it, and yeah. Big shout out to Brian because just like that night at Dustin's house, this episode's a shit show. All right, let's jump into let's jump into fun facts. I don't have any. Brian, Dustin, if you want to go ahead.
All right, I got 3.
Go ahead because I got a lot.
Oh, okay. So it's his second Bruce Willis film with a character called Cole who sees dead people. The previous was 12 Monkeys in 1995. Great movie.
Good movie.
Yep. The surnames of the main characters are subtle hints to their fates. Cole Sear is able to see things ordinary people cannot. Malcolm's last name, Crow, suggests crows, a bird often associated with death. I kind of feel like that one's a stretch, but here we go. And according to M. Night Shyamalan, the movie was inspired by an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Great series, 1990. It is called Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of the Dream Girl. It was directed by Dave Winning, in which the leading characters are ignored by somebody and do not realize that they are dead until the final moment. In the Tale of the Dream Girl, a brother discovers that only his sister can see him, and she ultimately shows him his own obituary.
Boom! I'm glad you said that one because I had that one too, and I used to fucking love that show, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like honestly,
hell yeah, man, great show.
Are You Afraid of the Dark did more to get me into horror than anything else in my entire life because I was such an impressionable youth. Yep, exactly right. All right, so this movie was rented by 80 million people in the year 2000, making it the year's top rented VHS and DVD title. That's crazy. That's a lot. The film was actually considered a sleeper hit because in Entertainment Weekly's 134 film summer movie preview of 1999, The Sixth Sense was not even mentioned in the list. That's crazy.
Wow.
David Vogel, then president of production of Walt Disney Studios, read M. Night Shyamalan's spec script and instantly loved it. Without attaining corporate approval, Vogel bought the rights to the script despite the high price of $3 million and the stipulation that Shyamalan could direct the film. I think it worked out okay.
I think so.
In 2007, the American Film Institute ranked this as the number 89 greatest movie of all time. This was one of the newest entries on the list from films which were released between 1997 and 2005. Let's see here. According to Michael Cera, this was the first film he ever auditioned for. He read for the part of Cole. Yeah, he did blow it. The magic trick scene is the scene that he did, but he did it too cheerfully. He hadn't read the entire script, so he didn't know that Cole was supposed to be an introverted and quiet boy. I think it worked out okay. I like Michael Cera. It's nothing on him, but man, Haley Joel just tugs at your heartstrings.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to tell me you don't like Superbad?
That's not what I said.
You made a face.
That's not what I said. I'm not allowed to like a movie with an actor that I don't particularly care for. That's weird.
He made the movie, pal. Him and Jonah Hill. Anyway,
Just Johnny. Okay.
This is the only film that year to be Academy Award nominated for both Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress. Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette. They deserved it. They deserved to win. Fuck whoever did win. Well, respectfully, they might come on the show one day. This one,
respectfully.
Fucking respectfully.
With all due respect, fuck you, buddy, and Missy. This one kind of hurt me because Marissa Tomei, she declined the role of Anna, and that one hurt me because anytime we get to look at Marissa Tomei and see her acting, I will not turn that down. Woo.
No.
Lord have mercy. And the last one I've got is this was included in the American Film Institute's 2001 list of the top 100 most heart-pounding American movies.
All right. The budget for it was $40 million. The box office, $672.8 million for this little thriller horror movie with a star-studded cast. But no way at the time 29-year-old M Night Shyamalan ever would have thought this movie.
It's only 29. Wow.
I believe it may have come out on it. It either came out
on his birthday.
On his 29th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
On his birthday.
What were you doing when you were 29? Wow.
I was.
It was rhetorical. It was rhetorical.
I was like, I honestly don't know.
All right, guys, let's jump to our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Brian, do you want to kick us off tonight?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. My favorite kill was I don't know, Bruce Willis, I guess. Least favorite kill was Donnie Wahlberg. I don't know. Both flip them both ways, go through. I don't know. Anyway, the whole point of it is, again, I think that this movie is much deeper than just this reveal of, oh my God, he's dead the whole time. This movie deals with all of these underlying themes of, like I said earlier, grief, loneliness, and it's just so much more. And I think you really miss out on that. And it's a shame that it's only remembered for just the twist. I gave Signs a 10. I'm going to give this one a 9.5 today, I think.
I'll go ahead and go then. I don't really have favorite kill, least favorite kill, because I didn't know. He could have included all the ghosts that come to visit him. Could have included, I guess Donnie Wahlberg, Vincent and Malcolm were the only legitimate deaths that we got to see. So it is what it is. But the movie, very good. There's things that I would have changed. I think I've covered all that in the scene by scene breakdown. But it's just very well done. Like you said, Brian, the themes of the movie are so much more than just a twist. To me, the strongest thing that this movie has to offer is the strength of a bond between a mother and a son, and the chemistry that Toni Collette and Haley Joel Osment shared. And honestly, I would love to see them in other stuff throughout the years because they were so good together. I'm a big Bruce Willis fan too, so shout out to the M Night Shyamalan and Bruce Willis connection there. Unbreakable is another damn good movie. Forgot about that one actually. That one's actually I think my favorite M Night Shyamalan movie. So I have to re-rank my power rankings I said earlier. But this movie's really good. I can't go.
Good, but whatever.
Glass was not good. That trilogy, the first two were so good. Split is fucking incredible. But
incredible. Glass, not good.
This movie to me is very good, but not perfect, not great. So I went with an 8.25.
I'll go next, Mike. I'll let you go last. Because honestly, I don't even know what the fuck to rate this movie, honestly, but I really like it. Favorite kill, I just chose the boy with the gunshot wound in the back of his head just because I thought the effects looked really good. Least favorite kill, I mean, what do you pick? Like Dustin kind of mentioned, I'll go with the biker at the end of the movie just because you don't see it. It's just some blood running off her helmet. I mean, it didn't even look that bad, honestly. I think I pretty much said how I felt in the general, our general thoughts. Hadn't seen the movie, but I knew the big twist, and I agree 100% with you, Brian. This movie is way deeper than just, oh my God, he's dead, and I see dead people. I mean, this movie is very powerful. It tugs at your heartstrings. Toni Collette, I don't know why she always has all these scenes with her son at a dinner table. The history repeats itself, I guess. But she killed this movie. Bruce Willis was fantastic. Haley Joel, he carried it, I think. He was so good. Like I said, I like The Visit more just because it's more entertaining. But this one is better. and I'm going to give this one a 9.5, a 0.5 higher than The Visit.
All right. I don't have anything for the kills just because I didn't really see the movie that way. As far as my favorite and least favorites, and you know, a lot of the deaths are kind of sad, so I hated to kind of even do that here. All right, so kind of said everything, but I just think, man, what a powerful movie. And a lot of times, like I said at the beginning, a movie can't make me feel much of anything except okay, that was cool, or oh shit, look at that, or ooh, that was tough, that was rough, man. But this movie makes me feel something multiple times, and the fact that it can kind of dig right in there and get to that place every time I watch it speaks volumes. I think it's a great script. I think it's directed beautifully. I think it's, golly, I love the way this movie is shot. I love the acting performances from top to bottom. No one is bad in this movie. Even the dog pulls off a great performance. So I mean, again, I love the cast, love the story, love the themes of the film. The twist is good, but it's not what the movie is about. But again, it is kind of what the movie is about. So all that being said, I gave this movie a goddamn Billy Bob score, baby. A 10, a fucking 10. Gentlemen.
All right. Well, that gives us a composite score of 9.3125, which is higher than IMDb. They've got it at an 8.2 with 985,000 votes.
Wow. I almost went 10 too, Mike.
Still pretty
I almost
good.
went 10.
And that's pretty good on IMDb, by the way. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good movie pick, Mike. I'm so glad you picked it because I hadn't seen it. I'm glad I watched it, and we got to do it on this show.
Good deal, buddy.
Any more final thoughts on the movie before we just shout out our blood donors and announce my pick next week? All right, thank you, blood donors. I really appreciate y'all. Our camper level reoccurring are Clayton J, Nina, Michelle Mirza, Andrew Ferguson, Carrie Adams, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, Eric Doolittle, and Sean Irwin. Our camp counselor reoccurring are Hunter Nelson, Dennis Kennedy, Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home podcast, Heather Smith, Kylie Denise, Adrian Aiello, Jake Hambrick, and the Legion podcast. And our final guide donors that we have film reviews to do for are Christian Cunningham and Matt Sears. Really appreciate y'all's financial contributions. It really means a lot to us. It takes a big burden off of us. We really appreciate y'all. Next week is going to be my pick, and I chose, more of a kid-friendly movie, movie that's really nostalgic to me and for a lot of people. I chose Hocus Pocus, and I'm excited to review it. So, it's a really good Halloween, October pick. I'm excited to knock it out. Any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight, guys?
We got Halloween Ends coming out next.
Next week.
At this moment, I will be seeing it in the theater 24 hours from right now. I'll be leaving the theater.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm going Friday. I can't wait. Just thanking all our fans again. We really appreciate y'all. Happy Halloween. Happy spooky season. Just want to remind everybody. Don't go out